All right, folks, it was the theme of the night all night in Louisville. Got a quarterback, got a kicker, got hope. Canes winning 47-34 over Louisville in a much anticipated ACC game that would start to be able to shape the race for what we expect to be the number 2 position in the ACC. So between Notre Dame, North Carolina, Louisville, and now Miami, of course, maybe Pitt on the fringes to battle for the number 2 position behind Clemson in the ACC. MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football, welcoming you in tonight following the Canes' impressive showing on the road. We've got so many questions, so many storylines to cover, so many exclamation marks to unravel here for the Canes and their performance against the Cardinals, a game that Miami won at home last year over Louisville 52-27. Louisville, the hot team, the chic team, the team that everyone's selecting, along with North Carolina as being a team to challenge Clemson. But as I will point out to you and unravel a little bit as we go through the layers of this game, it was a pretty quick and easy deduction for me to make, even though I went against my logic. I went against my gut. I just went with the crowd on this one. Truth be known, this was my mistake. First dumb pick of the year, as I tweeted out, because my thought process was basically Louisville has a near elite offense, okay? About an 8.5 on a scale of 1 to 10. Near elite offense. I don't know about the offensive line necessarily, but playmakers, and Malik Cunningham impressed me. When he didn't deliver the ball well, it was because of the Miami front four and the pressure delivered. Okay, Louisville's offense, no question. Again, a top 15 unit in the country. 8.5 on a scale of 1 to 10. The Miami offense, I was looking prior to the game. Now let's forget what we saw here for just a second. Prior to the game, before we saw the passing attack come together, I was thinking, well, the Miami offense actually has better talent than Louisville, but because of the issues on the offensive line, and maybe because we didn't see the passing game come together against UAB, it's going to take some time. So I was rating the Miami offense more in the range of a 7 out of 10, and Louisville more of like an 8.5. But defensively, Miami, maybe one of the better units in the country, not just the ACC, maybe one of the better defensive units in the country. Give Miami the 8.5 on defense. Give Louisville more of like, until we see differently. There was some hope against Western Kentucky. They performed well, adequately, well, better than adequately. They had a strong performance in the opener, but it was Western Kentucky. So Louisville's defense more like a 4.5. Well, that adds up to a substantial Miami win. But I went with Satterfield. He's done a tremendous job there. Louisville's at home. I got to see it out of Miami first before I believe it. And there you go. I picked the Cards 31-27. Full disclosure right here. My first missed selection of the day. I want to remind everyone that you can call in. We've got the phone lines open, and we want to hear from Louisville fans, just Louisville fans. No Miami fans are allowed to call. Of course, everybody gets to call in the show, regardless of who you root for. But of course, this is a night for Miami fans to celebrate. This is your best road win since blank. That is the question of the night. One of the questions to be answered tonight. Your first and best road win since when? All right, let's get to the live chat conversation here, because we want to highlight everybody and what you guys are talking about here, certainly, and what stood out to you. We also want to get to my notes. So this is what I do when I watch college football, and this is all day on Saturday. And because we're really not into the swing of things, we basically have one decent game per window, and this was a game, Miami fans, you got to admit, this would not have been a primetime game, would not have been an ABC selection if we would have had the Big Ten and the SEC in play. It just wasn't that kind of game. But maybe Miami turns into that kind of team for the first time since 2004, 2005. We shall see. It looks good. It looks mighty good. Because really there's no weakness on this team. There's no Malik Rozier. There's no, offensive line. You still have the offensive line. But if the play calling throws up the smoke and mirrors and hides the offensive line deficiencies, then until you play somebody who's really, really, really good, then we could see this kind of performance week after week after week after week. And I know Miami's got a difficult stretch coming up. Florida State, of course, not quite what we maybe expected, at least through one game. They looked awful in the one game, and they are facing adversity. Their head coach tested positive. But I don't want to be, so I'm the voice of reason here. I'm the voice of college football, but also the voice of reason here because, of course, I know you guys are stoked about this, Miami fans. Louisville fans, we want to hear from you. I would like to get as many Louisville fans on all of our channels as Miami fans. So the thing is let's say we got 5,000 Miami fans and 10 Louisville fans. If we bring the Louisville ratio up to 5,000, then we get the Miami fans up to 50,000. So anyway, I think we also need to temper the optimism, knowing that Louisville's not a great team. They received a ton of hype over the offseason, and I tried to squelch that a little bit in my game-to-game predictions because Louisville was favored in 9 or 10 of the 11 games on the schedule, according to the Football Power Index, and that was a bit strong. They were an 83% pick in this game, and I said it at the time. It's on tape. It's on my video. That's crazy. That was crazy. It is crazy, and now it's even more crazy. I had a 52-48 Louisville and gave them the slight edge at home. Slight edge. But this is what I do. All day on Saturday, watching college football games, taking notes. But, man, if you guys have the storylines there, I want to get to your chat in the live chat. That's more important than what I took from this game. It's what you took from this game. And we don't have a Louisville helmet, but certainly we'll get the Canes up here to honor the big win. And, of course, that's the topic here, is that Miami has notched really the first big win of the college football season. This is really the first, it is the first big win of the college football season. Nobody else has won a conference game of this magnitude, not even close. Pitt, North Carolina beat Syracuse. So they got into the win column in the conference. The Big 12 has yet to play a conference game, and nobody else has played. Yeah, this is by far the biggest win of the season. Notre Dame's beaten a couple overwhelmed teams in Duke, although the Blue Devils put up a fight. Big win for Boston College today, and we'll get to the rest of college football. But, of course, this is what everybody wants to talk about right now. I get it. Here we go. LeBrent, Alston, Madman, I'm waiting for the instant analysis. Here it is. Well, it's going to come courtesy you because, again, I go crazy on college football games, and I work for you, and I want to deliver the best. So I'm constantly taking notes, but I stopped sometime late third quarter when I thought, man, I'm running out of ink here because Miami, after those two 75-yard plays for back-to-back touchdowns, that was crazy. Those were blown coverages by Louisville, blown assignments by the Cardinals, but Miami certainly, Red Lashley, my goodness, Lashley and King, man, you guys have to be excited about the possibilities. George, of course, we love George and the Gators, of course. George joining us from Oregon. This guy right here, if you're not familiar with George, has commented to the channel more than anybody. I'm not keeping tabs. Of course, it's impossible, but there's no doubt. There's the guy. This was my chance to win all the money in the world because I knew Miami was going to blow out Louisville. But you didn't. Just like I didn't pick Louisville, even though I told everybody off the top why I knew I should have picked Louisville. Good. Basically, wild card offense. We didn't know what to expect of the Miami offense, but at least I knew that they had playmakers. They had Brevin Jordan and D. Wiggins and Cam Harris and those two freshmen in the backfield. I knew that they had stud talent, even better talent than Louisville, even though the Cardinals came in with a better offense in regards to what has been produced on the field by this unit. And that was one of the things I trusted in, is that the Cardinals have played together on offense. But these guys, just in their second game, wow. I just saw some breakdowns along the offensive front, of course, especially in the passing game. And in the first half, they had some difficulty blocking up front in the run game. It was spotty. But Louisville shot gaps. They did what they needed to do to try to force something in the run game. But other than that, man, I don't have a whole lot on Miami. Didn't make mistakes, not really key mistakes. Mark Pope, catch the football. Or this could have been like 62 to whatever it was, 34. Mark Pope dropped a bomb down the field that was placed right in his lap. He dropped another third down conversion. I think he dropped another ball. Mark Pope did not have a good night. Hurricane, we got work to do, man. So he's looking at the realistic view and sees issues. But again, I think you gotta understand Louisville is going to score points on just about anybody in the country. And going into the season, I would have said Miami's got one of the top. Let's say everybody's playing. Everybody's playing the Pac-12. Everybody's playing. That Miami has one of the 10 to 12 best defenses in the country. They might be better than that. Jalen Phillips, of course, we saw it against UAB. And it's no big surprise to people that follow college football because we knew the talent. And when he was on the field at UCLA, and I watch UCLA play, I know you guys don't, but I watch the Bruins play, and Jalen Phillips could play for them too. He had like 3 sacks in 2 games, I think last year or the year before. But anyway, he's only got a handful of games played. Fortunately, he came back off the one nick that he took when the quarterback rolled, when Cunningham rolled and Phillips got clipped and knocked him out of the game for a play or two. But he came back strong. But Hurricane Logan's telling us we got work to do, man. Yeah, the coverage spotty at times. The ground game was a bit effective for Louisville. J.P. Hawkins is a tremendous back for his size. Tremendous back. So, yeah, the run game did not look great. The run defense, meaning. George, I lost my booking number because I cracked my iPhone screen. All right. Maybe I should read the comments before I post them. All right, George, we're sorry about what's going on the West Coast. Hit that like button, please. LeBrent, thank you so much for the encouragement and for letting everybody know. Please hit the like button. If you do anything, hit the like button. And if you so have it in your heart, and if you really knew what was going on in my situation in trying to get you content and keep my channel alive, some of you have an idea of what's going on, then you would also, if I could find it here, I would let you know to, bam, there it is. The super chat is on. Of course, I'm not expecting anything, but it is there. It is there to contribute in that fashion. And of course, that would be not just appreciated, that humbles me in many ways. All right, maybe one game we'll get a holding call. These refs suck. You know what? I do think the refs were slightly on the side of the Cardinals. Slightly on the side of the Cardinals. At one point, there was the call against was it Amari Carter early in the game against Cunningham with the late hit out of bounds, which was a good call. It wasn't going to hurt Cunningham. He could have pushed me like that, and it wouldn't have hurt this old man. He barely pushed him, but it was like 10 seconds after the play. It was like 8 yards out of bounds. So that shouldn't happen. So it was a good call, but then Louisville did it the next series, and they let it go. The pass interference calls, holding. Are we talking about offensive line holding? Are we talking about holding in the secondary? I'm drawing a blank, but I remember there were 3 or 4 times during the game that I thought it's leaning Louisville's way. The officials are leaning that way, not intentionally, but they're leaning that way. I think that the calls were more on Louisville's side. If Pope and Harley could actually catch, we'd be up 24. Yes, Harley dropped a touchdown pass. He would have really had to put his foot in the ground. Well, to an extent. He was at the pylon, but he just dropped the football. Man, how do guys drop these passes? They are tremendous, tremendous athletes, and I don't expect them to catch them all the time in traffic. But when they're wide open, they should drop the ball like that 1 out of 100 times. That I can take. But if you take all the receivers in college football that start, I would say they drop a pass like that 1 out of more like 20 times. It's too often. A little too often. Yeah. George, We're talking college football here. There you go. The refs have been a little bit of a problem. Yes. Now, Louisville, I will say that Louisville was racking up the penalties in the second half when they were trying to come back. Once they got down by 2 scores, well, they got down 2 scores in the first half. But after that, there was a sequence there of maybe 4 or 5 drives in the second half when Louisville had the really nice drive to get back in the game when they went down, let's see, 20-6 at halftime, 20-13. That was a nice drive. And then they got within 27-20. And that was their last real shot at Miami when they needed a stop. And then, of course, the Canes scored again on another 75-yard play, the Jalen Knighton play. And the Cardinals come back. And then they went through a series of getting the ball and committing just drive killer penalties that just put them so far behind the sticks, drive after drive after drive after drive. So the refs did call those penalties, certainly, at that point, of course. Good to see a Pack Addict. You guys must have been on before the game was over. Oh, I see. Yeah, 10:42. Oh, my goodness. You guys started this live stream at 10:31. I was going to come on here at 11. Yeah, 3.5 hours after the game. So it turned into a long, long game. And I wanted to be on here right after the game. All right. Can we get to a comment here that matters? Let's see. George back at it. Louisville is not a pretender. That's a good team. Miami's just that much better. I'm so freaking happy for Miami. George, let's define contender. I don't know that Louisville's a contender. Love the props. Don't know what the props are, but William, good to have you here. He must be talking about betting props. Okay. George commenting so much before the show started. Henry, Mark, take a piece of the humble pie. I'm not taking any piece of humble pie. Did Wake Forest? I'm going to brag about my betting. Well, I'm not making any bets, but about my prediction record. That's what I'm going to brag about right now. Humble pie. What are you talking about, Henry? I can't get them all right. I got 6 out of 7 against the spread today. Folks, consider this. For 5 lousy bucks, you join me on Patreon. You get my predictions every week. And 6-1 against the spread if Wake covered. What happened with that game? I know they were up 4, about 9 minutes left. Let's pull up some stats. I want to see the Wake Forest NC State final. And I really wanted to see that game. I'm probably going to watch that game late night. I don't have the ACC network. Who won that game? The heck? Where is that game? Be good to me, Wake. Come on. Oh, they lost by 3. I had Wake and a point. So I still went 5-2 against the spread. We'll take that, 71%. 71 against the spread. That would win you a lot of money. So again, $5 at Patreon. You get my picks, plus a lot more. We do live streams almost every day over there. All right, thank you so much for the Super Chat contribution. That's coming in from Chuck C. And I will get that to the screen, Chuck, as soon as I can. But, man, I got a whole lot of comments to get through before I get to yours. But so Chuck C is telling us, yes, lots of yards, but Miami went up and stayed up. Cards pressed into action, winning like that when they weren't sharp. Good sign for UM. I don't know that they weren't sharp. Guys are playing football. They're flying all over the place. If you guys expect to see a perfect game against a decent opponent, it's not usually going to happen. I get your point, Chuck C, but I don't know that Miami, I think they played really well. I think they played extremely well. There was a criticism made on the highlight show that I had on after the game. As soon as the game was over, or actually another network, I flipped over because it was, 47-27 with 5 minutes left. And I was getting set up here, flipped on the highlight show, and there was a comment made about the Miami defense giving up too many yards. And so Chuck C mentions that as well. I will say that doesn't bother me. Sure, Louisville made plays. Miami could tighten it up. There are going to be teams, namely Clemson, maybe, that would shut down Louisville more so than Miami. But the Canes played out of those 34 points, 20 were legit, meaning when it was still a game. I considered it a game at 40. Okay. It was legitimately over when Miami tacked on the field goal to make it 37-20. It was basically over then. So I got to think there was about 9 or 10 minutes left. Canes kicked the field goal to go up 37-20 because you're looking at a 3-score game. Is it over for sure? No way they can come back? No. We watch college football every week, and there are probably 10 to 15 games a year when a team will come back from 3 scores down with 8 minutes left. So it happens. It's not a shock, but the probabilities are low, especially against a tremendous defense. But the Cardinals at home, tremendous coach, play caller on the offensive coordinator side, and the weapons that they have. So I didn't think it was ironclad over, but I thought, that pretty much was the nail in the coffin to end it. But then it went 40-20, and when Louisville scored, they got the long pass inside the 5. They scored a couple plays later, 40-27. I still thought it was over, but 40-27 with 7 minutes left. They scored with right about 7 minutes left, and I thought, this is a game. It could be a game. I don't expect Miami to collapse because they're too good defensively, but Louisville at 40-27 with 7 minutes left, I thought, well, 2 scores. It's a game. It's still a game. I don't know why I went into all that necessarily. Let's see. We got young Spitta on the line. And anytime I see somebody that I have not recognized because I've never seen you comment to the channel, I just figure, who knows how long this person's been watching, who they root for. I assume here again, that we've got people that aren't familiar with the voice of college football. So, young Spitta, welcome to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. And sure, I expect to be taken to the woodshed for my prediction, Louisville 31-27. But for those people that are just kind of ruthless and mean about it, I expect the trash talking and making fun of me. That's fine. That's part of the deal. That's fun. Some people are like jerks. They're ruthless, and it's a bit much. And I think, okay, when you actually find a commentator, an analyst who gets all their predictions right, you send me the link. Those people don't exist. And actually, I told somebody today that was harping on one of my predictions. I said 57% against the spread last year, and that was not a good year for me. So when you find somebody who does better than that, that's not some like elite odds maker that does this full time. I just pick the games off the top of my head. And like I said, I gave Miami a much better chance than the FPI at 48%. So I was basically saying Miami's a tad better. So I consider like 55-45 with the home team at 55-45. That's a toss-up. So at 52-48, I was considering Miami to be that much better going into the game. But I would have been, had I just gone with my, as I stated off the top of the show tonight here, if I would have gone with my just standard logic of let's not overthink this and let's just say the Louisville offense is near elite and the Miami offense is a wild card but could be great and actually better than Louisville's because they've got more talent. And then we know that Louisville's defense, until proven otherwise, is awful. Like this Louisville defense was one of the 10 worst in college football last year. If you go by the standard metrics, just yardage per game, points per game, yardage per play, they were one of the 10 worst. If you go to the advanced metrics, just as bad, 10 worst defenses in the country, then it adds up. It's easy. Miami's going to win this game. And that turned out to be the case. So as I mentioned on Twitter, this was my first dumb pick of the season. But certainly I will take 5-2 against the spread, and anybody who listens to me will make a lot of money at 5-2 against the spread. So if you know anything about the way the odds work, straight up against the spread, if you put down $100, you win 91 for a win. So take 5-2, and you got 2 losses at $100. That's 200 lost, but it's 5 times 91. That's a 455 gain. That's a nice night. Robert Brooks, good to see you. Let's go Canes. LeBrent, Pack Addict. FSU is so bad their head coach called in sick. We're at 2-0. Antonio, thank you so much. Checking in with the fam. And Antonio reminding everyone to hit the like button. Henry Rios wasn't satisfied in making one comment to me about humble pie, so I'm going to post the other one as well. I post all comments unless you guys are having your own conversation that nobody could understand unless they were involved in the conversation, or if you use any kind of profanity, or again, I would ask everybody in the live chat, of course, to stay away from inappropriate comments. But have fun. Trash talk with me. Loving the beard, Pack Addict. I hate the beard, actually. I'm just lazy. I hate the beard. I told the story during the live stream on Patreon last night that actually I was headed out yesterday to get the haircut, and I had a 4 o'clock appointment, and my daughter pulls up from college. She surprised me. I didn't expect her this weekend. She just pulled up, and here she was. So that killed the haircut. It's basically just matted down and slicked down. There's just way too much hair up there. It needs to get cut. Yeah, the Florida State-Miami matchup looks like a mismatch right now. But keep in mind, things happen. Sometimes wounded animals show up and they fight. They're wounded, they're down, they're out, but they rise up. Could happen. So, Miami fans, you guys have been through this. You have rooted for a program that's only winning like 57% of its games the last 15 years. This has been a marginal program for a long time. So I think to be extremely excited and feel good about tonight and the possibilities, but that it was only Louisville, one of the top 35 to 40 teams in the country last year. Yeah, again, if I'm going to miss every Miami pick this year and also go 5-2 against the spread every week, 71% against the spread, I will take it every time. So I find it funny how many people take offense to somebody predicting a football game. Fred, good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you, Brett, as well, who's jumping on me for my Louisville pick. Tabardine has been touting Manny Diaz as the best coach in college football for quite some time. He looks better with that proclamation tonight, but of course that's ridiculous. Antonio, everybody has their time when they go against what they know is right. You are forgiven. Yeah, it was just one of those things. I couldn't maybe all these percentages that were thrown at me in doing a little bit of research just got to me. When I saw the FPI at 83%, and even though I went only 52 for Louisville, because I thought that was insane, and Louisville was the 2.5-point favorite. Yeah, I can't explain it. Again, it was an easy equation of Louisville, tremendous explosive offense, Miami wildcard offense. We don't know what they have yet, but we know that if you actually measure the players on offense, Miami, Louisville, for as good as Louisville is, Miami's got better players on offense. They've got better recruited talent on offense. And I thought the two quarterbacks both played extremely well. I thought when Louisville got down, then Cunningham started to make some mistakes, but I'm really impressed with him. Miami's really deep at running back. Hawkins might be the best running back. That's a close call, but Miami certainly has better running back depth with the 3. Louisville's got Hawkins, and he gets the most out of what he is right now. I think there's more potential with the two freshmen, of course, being elite backs versus Hawkins. And Miami's better wide receivers. Louisville's not great at wide receivers. I'm impressed with Justin Marshall. I think he's a really good player. And, of course, Tutu Atwell is a player that you can't count on all the time, and he has to be used in certain ways, but he's tremendous. And then the defenses aren't even close. Not even close. Mr. H, good to see you. HD, sorry. Mr. HD, thank you. Kenneth, good to see you as well. You guys have to love your matchup against Florida State, and we'll get into it. Another super chat coming in, this time from Judge Juno. Juno, we appreciate you, Mr. Judge, from joining us with Pigskin Pete on our show. So keep in mind, everybody, that Monday, if you're familiar with Pigskin Pete, we are putting together a show that launched last Monday at noon. So every Monday at noon Eastern time, I go on with Pigskin Pete. We had a great conversation, loved it. Everybody seemed to enjoy it as well. So Judge Juno, I remember seeing you contributing to the live chat and also the super chat. So thank you so much for the contribution. I will get these posted to the screen. I will do it soon. I'll try to get through all these comments. I guess my analysis was for naught, huh? Maybe I'll cut a video. All right, Judge Juno, what you got here? Chill out on my boy, Mark. Our ex-coach and alum picked us to lose. Go jump down his throat. Yeah. I'm just a neutral guy. I had no investment in this game. I just wanted to see a good game. Talk about a good game. Louisiana Tech, Southern Miss, last play of the game for a touchdown to win the game. Maybe I'll watch that, the cut down version. Judge, thank you. Appreciate that. I'll get your comment to the screen, and thank you so much for the super chat contribution. Yeah, anytime somebody contributes on this super chat, I just thank you so much. I'm humbled, and thank you so much for the contribution and valuing what we do. 247 Canes. Miami defense needs to tighten up. The offense won this game. I agree. But I also would say that Louisville is going to make plays against almost every defense in the country. Well, they will make plays against every defense in the country. Louisville, I don't believe, plays Clemson. I'll have to check on that. For some reason, I think I got it in my head that they don't play Clemson this year. So that would be a great comparison to make. Yeah, Dennis, one of our great contributors, is here all the time with us. Dennis, thank you so much. Good to see you. I'm sure you're stoked tonight. Hopefully somebody's answering my question in the chat, and I will get to it soon as I try to go through these. So keep in mind that it's 12:08, and I'm on comments that are made at 11:37. So I'm 23 and 8, 31 minutes behind it. So I'm trying to catch up with all of you. But my question for tonight is, this is Miami's biggest road win since blank. 2017, of course, they got off to the 10-0 start, but the two huge wins were those back-to-back efforts against Virginia Tech and Notre Dame when both teams were ranked in the top 15 in the country. Those were two dominant games, especially the Notre Dame game. I know you guys take great pride in just curb stomping the Irish that night. That was just a butt-kicking annihilation. But on the road, I don't think Mark Richt had a huge road win. Obviously, many of you will say Florida State because that is near and dear to your heart. It's a rival, but I'm talking about against a good team. And again, let's not overestimate Louisville. You didn't just beat LSU on the road. This was not a game at Penn State on the road. This was Louisville. Good team, big win. Man, to have that kicker, that play calling, that tempo, the quarterback, those are the things you should be excited about. And also that you killed them, not that you just won the game. Okay, that would have been great. Hey, if you would have went to Louisville and won let's see, a good score might have been 31-27. Let's say you went to Louisville, won 31-27. You guys would all be, I think, happy right now because it was game. You were a slight underdog. Most of College Football Nation thought Louisville was going to win this game. And you would have won the game against a quality ACC opponent and notched that first conference win. You guys would have all been happy. But I would have still thought, okay, Louisville 7-5, 8-5 last year with a bowl win. We'll see if they're any better this year. This is a decent win, but let's temper it. But you killed them. You killed them. Not that it wasn't still a game at 34-20, late third quarter, or even a game at 40-27, 7 minutes left. Still kind of a game. So you didn't beat them 58-0, of course, but nobody's going to beat Louisville 58-0. You dominated. You were clearly, from about the third drive of the game, the better from the second drive of the game. From the second offensive possession, you were the better team, and you were always the better team. So that's what you should take, is that there aren't a lot of teams that are going to go to Louisville and dominate them. You won by 13. You really could have won by 30. All right. Yes, Brett, the Louisville defense is awful. And now you guys, of course, are going for 4 in a row, and that game's at Hard Rock against Florida State. I would guess that you guys are going to be, it almost feels like you guys should be like 17-point favorites, but you're not going to be. There's too much respect given to Florida State's talent by Vegas. But I got to think that you guys are going to be at home. Is it going to be 10-point favorites? If it's much less than 10, I'm taking you guys for sure. Okay, Sean, my comment was I was rating the Louisville offense before the game. If you consider what they produced last year, what they have coming back, which is basically everything. They lost a couple contributors at wide receiver that weren't necessarily huge factors. They brought back all their production on offense. Actually, their biggest loss is somebody that doesn't get talked about because we talk too much about skill players and not about linemen. Mekhi Becton was a top 10 NFL pick at left tackle. He was missed tonight. That was the guy that was missed tonight, was Mekhi Becton playing left tackle for Louisville. He was their biggest loss by far. So yes, 8.5, I'm talking about going into the game, I would have rated Louisville, like if Ohio State's a 9.5 or Clemson's a 9.5 on offense. Those would be the two best offenses in the country. Yeah, they're better than Oklahoma. Yeah, those are the two best offenses in the country based on what we've seen. We haven't seen anything this year yet, but Clemson and Ohio State. Yeah, I can't think of anybody else that would be in that stratosphere. That if those are 9.5, yeah, Louisville's more like an 8.5. Maybe not quite. Maybe I was lifting them a little bit high. That I thought Miami was, I was just throwing out a 7. Now, if after watching the two offenses, well, we've got to consider that Louisville's offense had to go against Miami's defense, while Miami's offense was going against Louisville's defense. So I don't necessarily think that Miami's offense is that much better than Louisville's. But I think the positive is that your offense is probably as good as theirs, and your defense is much better. So consider who they were playing. Why doesn't Manny call the defensive plays? You guys can fight about that amongst yourselves. I know that Blake Baker is he's taken his criticism. The offense owed them 1. These kind of comments they're just hilarious to me. Mark doubted us heavy. You went 6-7 last year. Why would I not doubt you? This game does not surprise me. I picked a 52-48 toss-up. The percentage, and then actually tells you that I was only picking Louisville because they were at home. That I think Miami, going into the game, I thought Miami was slightly better. So I didn't really doubt you. you understand that if these teams could play 100 times, and this was before tonight, I would have picked Miami to win the majority of those games. So I don't know that you're understanding the process that I'm using here. But yes, I picked Louisville to win. Yeah. Yeah. Louisville was playing dirty at times. Yeah, they took their shots. I don't know that I saw anything except for, there were some scuffles. And as was pointed out during the broadcast, it was a heated game. And they also gave it a little more after the whistle a few times, and especially out of bounds. They did just enough that they wouldn't get called, but gave it a little bit more. Yeah, we talked about that. Miami Flow Football. Welcome to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. The truth is the Canes finally have an elite offensive coordinator. Yeah? And that was evident when they came out, first drive, not a good drive, but then second drive, third drive after that. And Lashley was smart enough to understand and aware enough to realize that Louisville was back on his heels, and he kept coming, and they couldn't get the replays through between plays. That's when they're up there ready to go and they're snapping the ball. Martin Dube. And Martin, if I mispronounce your last name, please forgive me. I always just say your first name. That's why. Mark, the offense has been beating the defensive practice. Surprised you chose the other way considering what Cam has been telling you. Well, I can't believe, Cam is exceptional at what he does. I say that every week when I have him on. But I can't necessarily trust Cam's opinion on Miami football when it comes to predicting games. Cam said they were going to go 10-2 last year. So I said Miami was going to go 8-4 last year, and half of you were about to, take me out. And I said 8-4, and that turned out to be too much of giving the Canes too much credit. This year I picked 8-3. All right, we've got some really ignorant comments that we're going to remove. We'll put this moron in timeout, I guess, unless he says something else that's that idiotic about race. So we don't need any of that. So basically, you say something about race, you have shown yourself to be a moron. So we're going to eliminate you, at least put you in timeout, and then maybe you can rethink it. And certainly, I believe in second and third and fourth chances. Antonio, thank you so much for encouraging everyone to hit the like button. And I apologize if I miss anything in here, but the chat, I'm working on something different than you are. You're just looking at YouTube. I'm working through an app that allows me to take the comments to the screen. Therefore, sometimes it shifts and it eliminates what was before that. So I miss it. Brett Farner, Blades and Ivy did pretty well as well. James, no, I predicted 33-27. I hope both had designed a better defensive scheme. Mark, your projection wasn't far-fetched. We hadn't learned much from week one. Thanks, James. It's nice to talk to reasonable people. Yeah, I missed a prediction. Yeah, went 5-2 against the spread and also 5-2 straight up today. I'll take it. Not the 5-2 straight up because I'm usually around 82, 83% against the money line. All right. Mark, don't pay those guys any attention. It was your prediction. Yeah, it was a prediction. How many times did I get pats on the back when I predicted Miami to win a bunch of games last year that they lost? How many games did I pick Miami to win last year that you lost? Was it like, Mark, man, you must love Miami because we suck and we lost that game, but you picked us to win. And, man, you picked us to win again? You picked us to beat Virginia Tech, we lost. Oh, you picked us to beat Georgia Tech, we lost. Man, you must love us. I didn't hear that from anyone. So on the flip side, you shouldn't, just because Miami wins a game that I predict you to win, doesn't mean I hate Miami. That doesn't make any sense. Canes fan 352. I'm seeing another Miami D lineman using Blackman's leg as a guitar in the future. Our comment of the night thus far. 904 Hurricane. Clemson doesn't have a bunch of small, fast guys. Clemson has fast, strong athletes. Yeah, they're a cut above when you look at Clemson's playmakers and Louisville's playmakers. It's just a different deal. Tone Smith, I don't know what you're talking about. Apparently I was talking about something at 11:59 that you thought I was digging a bigger hole. That's fine. I talk about what I talk about, and I don't necessarily apologize for anything unless I make some kind of factual mistake. I will apologize for that, or if I speak in something, but I'll certainly just, it is what it is. I just talk. We analyze football, and we talk with you. All right. Felt like a Big 12 game. Mr. Rubicon, good to see you, man. It's been a while. Justin, Louisville has some of the fastest players every season. Bunch of ankle breakers. Yes. JP and Hawkins, tough runner for his size, but he gets into the open field, and yeah. And, of course, Tutu. Bubba Bolden. Didn't you guys love what you saw out of Bubba Bolden? How many times did we see, and of course we only have a limited view on television, but you would see a pass in the deep flat, usually kind of a curl route, and you'd see, boom, guy's wide open. There's nobody in the screen. All of a sudden, Bubba Bolden boop, wraps him up. And the form tackling. You see so many guys just clip guys' legs and try to flip them over, and they're trying to avoid contact but try to get the guy to the ground. Bubba Bolden, like form tackling in the open field, and he would just shoot. He would do a beeline. And there was one play that Louisville ran wide to its right. Bubba Bolden came off of his coverage assignment, beeline to the ball carrier, down. I was very impressed with Bubba Bolden. He reminds me of the USC safety Tufanga, who I love. Love that guy too. Didn't want to get off here without talking about Bubba Bolden. Brett, Louisville probably still has one of the worst defenses in the country. We shall see. Against, wouldn't you guys just love that Louisville actually would turn out to have a decent defense and that you guys did this to them? Charles, good to see you tonight. Liddell Legend, Miami offense has life, hoping it continues and improves. The running back has the best since Portis, Gore, and Willis. Could be. Yeah. From a talent perspective, I would agree with that. They haven't done it yet, except for what we saw out of Cam Harris last year. Mike Jeezy in the house. Daniel Defense. Electronic whistle sucks. They need to start using an 8-horn. Yeah. It is awful, isn't it? I don't know what it's like on the field, but it's obviously an issue because how many plays have you ever seen where with the traditional whistle that they'll start the play after you'll hear the whistle, they'll still take the snap and like toss it, and then the wide receiver kind of catches and everybody kind of lays out and just stands up. But they like completed plays not knowing it was whistled. How many times did that happen? It just happened over and over and over. This was the worst that I've seen. And maybe this was because the crowd was a little bit louder. Obviously not anywhere close to what Louisville's crowd would have been under normal circumstances. But I mean, compared to the other crowds this season, because it was a bigger game. But, they're awful. They're awful. I feel bad for the refs. I feel bad for the players. Somebody's going to get hurt maybe because of this. I don't know. Because half the guys are going to be stop and other guys are going to be playing full out. I don't know. Because if you're 10 feet from the ref and he blows the whistle, maybe you hear it, but the guys on the other side of the field don't. Justin, of course, when our offense becomes solid, our defense becomes average. So you're always going to have your pessimists in the crowd to a certain extent. We've got E. Myers, 1981. Man, I wish I didn't have to work tonight. Missed an awesome game, it seems. You missed not an awesome game if you're a neutral fan like me or analyst, but an awesome game from the standpoint of, wanting to see Miami put on a show on national television on the road against what we think, actually the Football Power Index and some people thought was some great team, but what I thought was a good team. It looks similar to the Louisville team that we saw last year. Because keep in mind, Satterfield did a nice job of taking a program that won 2 games in 2018, turning it into a program that won 7 in the regular season and 8 with a bowl game last year. But it was still a roster that the year before, albeit with Lamar Jackson, was winning 8 games before that. And then the difference, the jump from 2 wins to 7 in the regular season is a remarkable feat and accomplishment. But to take it from 7, let's say 7-5, to 9-3 or 10-2, that's a whole other jump. Because the teams that you beat to go from 2 wins to 7 are beating your peers and teams that you should beat. You basically go from beating nobody to beating the teams on your level and below you. To go from 7 wins to, let's say, 9 or 10, then you have to start to win these kind of games. And that's where Louisville is trying to go. And they didn't show us anything tonight. So we got Tracy. Mark, what are your opinions on the offense for Miami? So I've given much of those. I think that the offensive line still struggles. I thought the offensive line showed us something against UAB last week, but again, that's a Power 5 against a decent group of 5, and that advantage should be there. But you guys pushed them around in the running game last week, but not necessarily in spots this week. The pass protection was better. The pass protection was better against Louisville than it was against UAB. You've got a quarterback who's one of the, I don't know, what would you say here? He's one of the 10 or 12 best quarterbacks in the country. He might be better than that. You know, there are 2 that are better for sure. And then he's in a group with, even though they're different skill sets, and people are going to kill me for this, Kyle Trask, Tanner Morgan, if the Pac-12 was playing, Keaton Slovis, Sam Howell. At this point, I would take Howell over King, but not by much. Man, I think he's the 3rd or 4th best quarterback in the country, isn't he? Who else? You know, Burrow and Tua are gone. And a lot of other good quarterbacks. So, yeah, you got weapons there, Tracy, and it's exciting. It's exciting for you. Chuck C., perfect kicking and 0 punt return yards in 2 games. What an improvement over past years. Pope, talented but not aggressive enough as a returner. Put Knighton back there. And the field goal kicking, you guys have to be ecstatic about that. You might have been 8-4 with decent field goal kicking last year, maybe 9-3. And this guy's phenomenal. When you can trot out a kicker at the end of the half to kick a 56-yarder thinking, well, if we don't make this, we're going to give Louisville the ball back at like its own 42-yard line. Nope. Let's trot him out there. He's going to make it, and he just crushed it. And you got to feel good about that. I know it's just a different part of the game where he's not a football player, and I'm the first one that says kickers are not football players, but man, are they important. James Scott. So what will Jason's excuses be after next week's game? I don't know. He doesn't have any. They're awful. Florida State was awful in its game against Georgia Tech. Just the defense was the only thing that you could say played pretty well. The offense, the play calling, the quarterbacking, the offensive line, the wide receivers were terrible. Whew. It's rough. Emmanuel Pierre, great night for Miami. Hope they keep that edge throughout the season. That is a great point right there. Keep the edge. Big game, national TV, ABC, biggest game of the week, Louisville. A lot of hype surrounding the Cardinals after what they did last year. The Canes got up for this. Get up for Pitt. Get up for Wake Forest. If you play them. I don't remember exactly what the schedule is, but you know what I mean. The noon games on Saturday against the teams that aren't necessarily supposed to be great, that aren't getting the hype. Pitt might be better than Louisville. They play next week. Pitt's going to bring a defense to the field. So we like to talk playmakers, and people got excited about Louisville, but they might be playing a team next week that's going to beat them as well in Pitt. They've got to go to Pitt, Heinz Field, against a defense that was one of the top 5 in the nation in points, yardage per play, and which is a key metric. And Louisville might hang another L. It's Louisville. They'll hang an L next week, possibly. Austin Cruz, good to see you, as well as Santuan Tooks, you a Miami hater. If you guys are saying that for fun, then I'll laugh along. But if you guys are serious, then you really need to check your logic. Harley's Joker, Pope, trash. Yeah, he couldn't hang on to the ball. It didn't look pretty. Emmanuel, when are we going to get Paul back on here? When are we going to get Paul back on here? Paul. Don't know who. Paul. Yeah, of course, Paul. Well, Paul's coming back next week, Emmanuel. We're going to get Paul back on here. You just sit tight. Justin on the 57-yard field goal. I need to move it along here. Louisville, we don't recruit good. Move to American Conference, we not football program. Louisville, calm down. It was one game. It didn't look good. Yeah, you haven't arrived, but yeah, you're a basketball program. You're right. You are a basketball program, but you've had your stretches in football. Louisville, Miami fans aren't going to like this, but Louisville is basically at a better football program in the last 15 years than Miami has. They shouldn't, and they don't have a better team right now. Miami's got a better team right now, and they've got a better recruiting class coming in, and they should have better teams in the future because of their recruiting base in Florida. But in the past 15 years, Louisville's had a better football program than Miami pretty much across the board, most of the time. Not by a ton, but I don't really think that could be argued. So you can still have a decent football program, Louisville. So don't take it too hard. Austin Cruz, Miami should kick Florida State while they down. All right. Santuan's offended. James, you guys are having your own conversations. Yes. Cinna Minson 06. Did you see Spencer Radler? By the way, it's good to see you, man. It's been a while. Did you see Spencer Radler throwing last week? I did. I saw the highlights. Flicks his wrist 60 yards on a line. Yes. All right. E. Myers, 1981. Come on, Mark. You were talking about the Louisville Promise. and how you take the Cardinals at all. You were hyping them pretty good, and now it was just Louisville. I picked Louisville to go 7-4. Check the video. I predicted Louisville would finish 7-4. Is that great? That's what's on the record. So I don't know what you're talking about. It's a good win. It's more important that you dominated the game. That is the great hope there, to see that you went on the road against, again, a decent opponent and you dominated. You didn't struggle. Not ridiculous. Your pick was ridiculous. I don't know what that means. Okay. Gumby, the kicker, will win Miami 3 games this year alone. Chuck C, don't blame Mark or anyone else for picking against them. Miami needs to earn the trust, 1 game at a time, a couple big steps that direction now. Yeah, consider that, as it was stated tonight, that Miami was 8-14 in its last 22 games against FBS teams. No, against Power 5 teams. Against Power 5 teams, 8-14 in its last 22 games. That's not average. That's awful. That's atrocious. 8-14. That's against Power 5 opponents. That's going, that's a lot of like 5-7 type years against Power 5 opponents. That's a lot of Indiana, Purdue, Indiana, Boston College, Syracuse level. That's who you've been. So, yeah. Birmingham Kane, if you were saying we are back just because you beat Louisville, you, sir, need to pump your brakes. You talking to me? Have you been listening, Birmingham Kane? I don't know what I was saying at the time that you made that comment, if you're talking to me, or maybe you're talking to somebody in the chat. Raphael, if not for dropped balls, this could have been a huge blowout. Yeah, we talked about that. Mark Pope, the main culprit, and of course Mike Harley at the goal line. Yes, JV and Hawkins, impressive guy. All right, Judge, again, thank you so much for the Super Chat contribution. And I believe more of you, if you realized our vision here, what we deliver right now, but also the vision, then I would receive more of these, because if we did this full time, then you cannot imagine what we can accomplish. Judge, thank you so much. Again, I read that earlier, but one more time, chill out. My boy Mark, our ex-coach and alum, picked us to lose. I guess that's lose, not loose. Lose, go jump down his throat. So that must have been Mark Recht and alum. And even kudos to Mark Recht. Not that he got the game prediction right, but obviously he loves Miami as much as anybody that I can imagine here. He's an alum, he coached them, but he's trying to do a job. So he incorrectly predicted, actually a lot of these analysts that we all admire, that know football through and through and could sit here and school us on football, that doesn't mean they do a great job predicting games. Some of the worst predictors of games are these analysts who are tremendous at what they do, but we just automatically think because you know football, you can predict games. Some people are not good at predicting games. And so Mark Richt apparently picked Louisville to win. He's not trying to, I don't think he's got any ulterior motive. He's just honestly trying to pick the game right and trying to be unbiased. Mark, my biggest thing is don't hype up a team, pick them, and then when they lose to Miami, turn them into, it was just, again, I don't really understand. My opinion on Louisville really hasn't changed, that I think they're one of the 30 or 35 best teams in the country. And this performance tonight did not change that. This performance to me said more about Miami. I was waiting to see if Louisville might be better defensively because they played a Western Kentucky team that, albeit a group of 5 team, won a bowl game and finished 9-4 last year, and typically has a pretty high-powered offense. And I thought Louisville played a good defensive game. They did play a good, sound defensive game against them, and that maybe they made some strides this year. All their linebackers came back, including their best linebacker, C.J. Avery. They don't have enough explosive playmakers on the edges in the pass rush game. I think that's one of their main problems, and their man-to-man coverage is not great. And they obviously just completely blew a few assignments that were just not like, sometimes you blow an assignment and it turns into a 15-yard gain. Sometimes you blow an assignment and, like I'm talking about, there's no one around. And so the whole defense blew the assignment. And it turns into 75 yards. Those were the kind of assignments. So E. Myers, 1981, regardless of what I said, I get your perspective, I guess. But I basically said from the preseason on that Miami has better talent than Louisville. That's shown by the recruiting rankings. But Miami has better recruited talent than all sorts of teams that they lose to every year. Duke, Georgia Tech, FIU, and before that. And basically I said I had confidence in Satterfield, that Louisville's offense had played together. That was what I was trusting in a little bit too much, that all those playmakers and their quarterback had played together. They pretty much brought the key components from last year back on offense, where Miami was still trying to figure it out. Well, they figured it out tonight. So it's a projection. I don't hype a team. I don't know where I'm hyping Louisville when I pick them 7-4. Is that really hyping a team that went 7-5 last year to go 7-4 this year? Yeah, I picked Miami to go 8-3. Brett, I need to stay focused, need to beat Florida State. So yeah, just don't mark down this as a win. I know that it looks like a win. It should be a win. Florida State's down. They have all sorts of adversity. Their offense is a mess. They probably feel like, here we go again. Our coach has COVID. We lost a game we should have won against it. It is hard to do what Florida State did last week. Florida State was a 12.5-point favorite at home, playing a freshman quarterback who had never started a game in college football, blocked 3 kicks after they went up 10-0 and dominated the first quarter and lost the game. That's tough to do. So they have to be deflated. But the history of college football is full of cases in which one team was riding high, looking great, and another team looked dead and out of it, and it happens. Okay. 904 Hurricane. Miami will have to represent better than Notre Dame, or Miami won't make the ACC championship. Miami boy, our receivers need to go through catching drills 3 times a day. Was it beyond the Harley play at the goal line and Pope? Was it really anybody else? It was more Pope than anybody. Hang with me here. Appreciate Chuck Mo Beer. And for many of you, you commented on the main channel after I cut the video and had to post it about a week ago, actually 8 days ago, to say I'm experiencing some adversity. There's a big challenge to the channel. I've got to put things on hold, unfortunately, and I can't really explain more than that, but it's a pretty messy situation. And many of you, I was just blown away with not just the number of comments directly to that post, but to other posts and on Twitter, just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments. So thank you so much. And I remember Chug Mo Beer was one of them. in supporting and saying, hey, Mark, prayers, well wishes, we got your back. We'll be here for you. We'll be waiting. So thank you so much. Chuck Mo Beer, and I will get this super chat to the screen. Thank you so much for the contribution, Chuck Mo Beer. Hi, Mark. Great to see you live again. Go. Oh, I'm sorry. Need to check the glasses. That was not a go with a bunch of O's. That was good. Good win for Miami today, but still a lot to clean up on defense, yes, and need to catch the ball better. Overall, good win on the road. Let's go Canes. Chuck Mo, thank you so much. Man, I just think some of you guys are just showing your appreciation on the super chat, and that's amazing. And I think some of you actually know what the goal and objective and vision is here, and know that it's going to take resources to cut loose and go full throttle all the time, full time, and it will be amazing when it happens. But you know that, again, takes resources. Brett, good to see you. 2 plays, 2 TDs, about as efficient as you can get. I know that Miami's got some really good games coming up beyond Florida State, isn't it? Well, I don't know off the top of my head. I know Clemson's in there and somebody else good. Anyway. The Lee Smith channel. Good to see you in here, Buckeyes fan. Got to be happy about the Big Ten finally stepping up and getting it done. UTEP with a win. Yes, Miami always answered, and Louisville could not. Chuck C, because Miami doesn't play Notre Dame in the regular season, the Canes would have to actually beat Clemson to make the ACC championship anyway. Irish won't lose more than one game, I imagine. So let's play this out. So what are you saying there, Chuck C? Are you saying that Clemson wins the game against Notre Dame? Are you saying Notre Dame upsets Clemson at home? And now we've got Notre Dame undefeated. Clemson's got 1 loss. Clemson beats Miami, and there's your championship game. Is that a graduating class, Tracy? Is that what you're letting us know that? Miami killed them in the third with the 2 long TDs. Okay, there we go. Thank you so much. You guys were talking about the last time Miami won a big game on the road. Appreciate the information right there. So we've got a road game against Virginia Tech, 3rd ranked in 2005. I know they didn't finish 3rd ranked because in 2005, that was the year, of course, Texas won the national championship over USC. Penn State finished number 3 because they won the Orange Bowl and went 11-1. Ohio State was in the top 4 as well. But let's see here. Okay, we're going back to 2005. 2005. Okay, so Tracy mentioned it. Miami won at home against Clemson. No. Good job, Tracy. At Clemson, 2005, 36-30. Clemson finished 8-4. They were what Clemson was back then. That's what Clemson was doing back then, 8-4. That was a pretty typical Clemson season. Finished 8-4, number 21 in the country. And in 2005, Miami, en route to a 9-3 season with that horrible Peach Bowl loss to LSU 40-3, also won at Virginia Tech 27-7. That Virginia Tech team went 11-2. I don't remember who Virginia Tech played in a bowl game that year, but anyway, regardless, they went 11-2, so they would have finished in the top 10 in the country. So that's the last time you think this is the biggest win for Miami on the road since back in 05. Because the next year in 06, yeah. Yeah, not in 06, 07. Whoo, you guys played at Oklahoma. No, that was at home and lost 51-13. I don't remember that game. But anyway, yeah, there you go. Not going to bore you guys with going through every year, even though I could do that. I love doing stuff like that. Donnie, thank you so much for the contribution. Thank you for the kind words on Twitter, Donnie. Always appreciated. Great win. Enjoy it. But we need to be humble and not overlook anyone. Yes. FIU, Duke, Georgia Tech, Louisiana Tech. Remember those games. There was no team in college football last year that won as many games, lost as many games as a double-digit favorite than Miami. They were a 2-touchdown favorite against Georgia Tech. They lost. They were a whatever favorite against FIU and lost, and against Duke. So good point, Donnie. Thank you so much for the super chat contribution. I will get that to the screen as soon as possible. So we are sitting here at 12:51. I am now 42 minutes behind in the live chat. I will get there. James makes a play here, I guess. So you're talking about the best road win would have been the Mark Richt inaugural season win in 2016 against West Virginia, but that was a bowl game. That was not a road game there. Brett, the FSU game in Tallahassee in 2017 was big. Okay, so that was part of the 10-0 start. Good call there. I love when people answer my questions because I sincerely was thinking, when is the last time that they won truly a big game on the road? Now, we will see. Now, let's say Miami has a big season and goes to the ACC championship game. Regardless of what Louisville does the rest of this season, we could look back on this game because of having a new quarterback and a new offensive coordinator and coming off a 6-7 season. This is a big win regardless. But of course, we're going to look back on it differently if Louisville goes 5-6 than if they go 9-2. If Louisville's 9-2 and finishes in the top 10 or 15 in the nation, then we'll really look back on this. But regardless of what Louisville does, this win's significant for what it means for Miami. And even if Louisville is not that good, Miami is going to have to beat other really good teams that are better than Louisville to get where you guys want them to be. So what is realistic for Miami this season? I think Miami can go to an ACC championship game. And I thought that before the Louisville game. Do I think they're going to? I don't think so, but it wouldn't surprise me. I did not figure out my ACC championship prediction because for those of you who watched my ACC game-by-game predictions for each team, I ran into a bit of a stalemate because I picked Notre Dame, North Carolina, and Virginia Tech all to go 9-2. So then I needed to Google, how do we break this? So if there's a tiebreaker between two teams and they play, that's obvious, head-to-head. But after that, it's probably common opponent. And I didn't take the time to figure that out. So you could go back to my predictions and we could figure out who I'm actually picking to play Clemson in the ACC championship game. But I had those three teams at 9-2, then Miami at 8-3. I had Louisville 7-4. I had Florida State 6-5, which their fans went nuts about. So I do Florida State shows and their fans jump on me just as much as you guys do. Rain Man, now Louisville not good. And again, there is nothing that I've stated after this game that is in any way inconsistent with what I said about Louisville before the game. Anthony Dates, great. Love when you guys step up with facts from the past. I'm a college football historian, so I love this stuff. Anthony Dates, October 2014 against Virginia Tech. Duke Johnson ran for almost 250 yards, I think. Great road win. 2014. It's been a rough go for Miami at Virginia Tech in recent years, of course, but in 2014 at Virginia Tech, a 30-6 win in a season in which I remembered well. The Canes went 6-6 and then lost to South Carolina in the Independence Bowl 24-21. In Steve Spurrier's last completed season at South Carolina. Going to smash North Carolina. Jim Tressel paid players. Okay. James Scott, want to talk disappointing? How about Duke and Georgia Tech today? Georgia Tech, not so much. They did what I expected them to do. Duke, at home, 6-point favorite against Boston College. Fortunately for me, because I really liked BC with the 6 points. Yeah. Duke is not a talented football team. Their talent is subpar in that conference. Brett, good call right there. I get it. 11-point favorite against Florida State. That's about what I predicted. Don't want to try to pronounce your handle. And we got a call coming in. So this must be from an old timer or a standby because I have not posted the phone number. I apologize for that. And we'll make our way through the live chat in the meantime. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Who's on the line?
It's George.
Oh, George, how are you?
I'm just elated. We actually got to watch a college football game today.
They've been on for about 3 weeks now.
Yeah. The only real game I've seen so far was Miami, Louisville. All the other ones were just warm-ups.
Pretty much. I can agree with that.
Right. And next week we'll have some more of them.
Yeah, the SEC starts next week. Your boys are on the field.
Yeah. I think the new face of football is ACC and SEC because everybody else done messed up somehow. The Pac, I don't even want to talk about them. Shame on them. Shame on them all. They give kids scholarships. They promise them a dream, and then they say, you can't play football. Anyway, I don't want to go there. The Miami game is just, I'm going to have a hard time going to sleep tonight, Mark. Oh, my God. I called it exactly. I promised everybody if you bet everything you own on Miami, mortgage your house,
George, I'm honoring you right now by putting your Gators helmet right next to Miami on the top shelf.
All right. I could, if I hit my link, I can see it. Nice. I like that.
You guys are playing Ole Miss next week.
Yeah, look, you can't take anything for granted in the age of the corona.
No, you can't.
I mean, I hear Mike Norvell's out. What if they say 6 of Florida's coaches are out for the week or something? I mean, this is just, I'm just going to have to go week by week and see what happens. But you can't take away what happened today. That was freaking awesome. I'm so proud of Miami.
So you root for the other Florida teams, I take it, George.
No, I have 4 teams. You see, Florida isn't playing all the time. They have bye weeks and things like that. So I cheer for Auburn.
Whoa, George. Oh, I was going to try to guess them. After all our conversations, I was going to try to guess them, but I would have never guessed Auburn. Why Auburn? And I've never heard that out of you.
Well, in Auburn, I lived in Auburn, and I lived right across from some building called Bunchess Hall. Okay. And when you go into that building at Auburn University, they have like pickled frogs in jars. It's like some scientific building, But there was a restaurant right across the street. My dad owned it. And I lived there for years and years. And we had a swimming pool, and there was a hotel and a restaurant, a bar. And when the visiting football teams came to Auburn, they would eat in our restaurant and stay in the motel and do their pre-game stuff in our banquet room. So I grew up watching Bear Bryant talk to his team, because my dad owned the freaking restaurant. And I could be there with the bus boys and everybody clearing the tables and while the coach talked, you know. I mean, I have a deep affinity for Auburn and Bear Bryant. I got to shake his hand. I told you this before. But, yeah, I'm just deeply rooted in Southeastern Conference football. And I love Miami because I know if the NCAA didn't shut them down, they'd have 15 national championships, you know. It would just be, we wouldn't be complaining about Clemson or Ohio State. If the NCAA had not shut Miami down, they were just going to win the national championship every year. You saw what they had going on down there. They're like, you can't pay players, but now everybody pays the players, you know?
Yeah, I think they were a bit extreme.
Yeah. Well, whatever. At least it was upfront and honest.
Yeah,
Can you believe it?
We don't necessarily.
Are we going to pretend? Are we going to pretend Ohio State doesn't play players and Florida doesn't pay players and just Oklahoma name a team, pick a team?
Well, what I'll say is that I'm not going to accuse anybody of anything that we have not proven, but do I think it goes on? Yeah. But I'm not going to sit here and talk about it because it's not been proven.
Right. Yeah, that's not why I called. I called to say, did you see that game with Miami and Louisville today?
Yeah, I watched the game. Yep. Every play.
That's the most fun we've had in like 4 months, right?
Pretty much, yeah. That was the first time we've had two decent teams on the same field this season. So, and now we got the SEC playing next week. So I'm looking forward to that.
You know, I think I would pick Cam Harris as the player of the game because he got the ball rolling. You know, he just started. I love that dude. He's like the fastest man on earth. If he gets 1 yard ahead of you, it's like he's gone. You can't catch him.
Yeah, they're stacked at running back.
Isn't it great? I know. And that other dude, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, Miami fans have to be stoked. We could be seeing our best Miami team in like 16 or 17 years. Maybe.
I know.
Maybe.
I'm a Gator, and I'm tripping on this shit. I'm like, oh my God. I knew it was going to happen, Mark. I knew it was going to happen. We always talk about FSU and Miami. They're both loaded with 4- and 5-star players, right? But they just can't break through. They never break through. But they have a quarterback now, and they have a coach, and they have a chief of staff, and you just know it's like predestined. I hope they beat Clemson 52-51. I really do.
Let's watch Miami do this a number of times. So this is one game, and this is against a decent team. A decent team. Okay? All right?
You could. Louisville might not lose another game. They're a good team.
They're all right. They've got a crappy defense. They're one of the 35 best teams in the country. They're not that good.
But they were pretty good. I agree.
They're pretty good. Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
They are. Well, I don't think they're as good as Kentucky. I don't think they're as good as. I don't know what level to put them on. I will say in the SEC that, of course, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, LSU, Texas A&M, Kentucky are all better. Tennessee's probably on the same line.
That's a good point. I would rather play Louisville than Kentucky. You're right.
Yes, you would. Kentucky's got a tremendous defense and offensive line. Louisville's got a crappy defense and a marginal offensive line.
Out of all the games I can watch next week, I'm going to watch Tennessee, Kentucky. I'm like, I got to see who wins this game.
Kentucky and Auburn, George.
Kentucky, Auburn.
Yeah, that's going to be a good game. That's going to be a good game.
That's like the Super Bowl on the first day of the season.
Yes, it should be a good game. It's probably going to be the game. I'll have to look at all the games, but I think that's going to be my favorite game next week to watch.
And both of the Mississippi games, I'll be flipping back and forth between them. I mean, oh my God, we got Mike Leach and Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, we'll have to look at the schedule because it should be pretty stacked. Should be pretty exciting for next week here.
So what do you think, Mark, being a Big Ten fan and Ohio State born and bred, do you think Ohio State should be able to get into the playoffs and play 6 games?
Well, they're going to play 8 games and actually a ninth game with a championship game. So it's not 6, it's 9.
I would qualify them. I would qualify them with 9, but that's not going to happen.
Well, I think that
we already see Mike Norvell's out.
What's that have to do with Ohio State?
They're going to miss a game. They're going to end up playing 6 games, 5 games. It's not going to work. Sorry.
Well, I think if there's a tiebreaker, then the Big Ten is going to be in trouble. Like if their champ is 8-1 or they miss a couple games because of COVID. Let's say they have a couple games canceled and their Big Ten champion is 6-1, and there's kind of a tiebreaker between them and an SEC second place team. If Florida loses the SEC championship game after going undefeated and Florida's 10-1, and even though they didn't win the SEC, they're 10-1, and Ohio State's 6-1. Well, then the Big Ten is going to get screwed, and it is their own fault.
I look. I don't mind if that happens. I don't mind that. That sounds reasonable. I mean, I'll give them credit for even trying. At least they came in. At least they didn't hang with the Pac-12. They reintegrated. But I don't know. I don't know if the Big Ten will ever recover from this. I think you've had a lot of defections already, haven't you? You've lost a lot of recruits. They've changed their
have they really
and stuff.
They have? I haven't heard about it. I've heard about one Ohio State commit that went somewhere else, but then they went ahead and signed or had commits from 3 or 4 other 4 and 5 stars right after that.
All right. I hope you're right. I'm on your side. You're just going to end up joining the SEC. That's all there is to it. There's no way out of this shit, man. You will be assimilated.
Yeah, don't think Ohio State's joining the
SEC. Your schedule's going to be Alabama, LSU, Florida, Georgia, Auburn. No more Rutgers. Come on, get real. You want to play football? Let's go.
I like how you match up the best teams in the SEC with the worst team in the Big Ten.
Whatever. We'll give you one game against Vanderbilt and another one against Arkansas, but still, you can't run the gauntlet. Or maybe you can. I don't know. But come on down. Let's play some football. Join the SEC. Come on. You already see the handwriting on a wall. You should probably sit down and pen a letter to the SEC and say, please, may we join your conference. That's what I would suggest. That's how it starts with a letter. And then we'll write back and say, I don't know, we're doing pretty good the way we are. And then you go, please let us in. And we'll say, okay, for $50 million a year and all your TV rights, we'll let you in. That's how it works. All your TV rights for 5 years, and then you can join us. And you're like, we got $300 million in the bank. We can do that. I'm just making this up, man.
Yeah, I was just going to say, bring us back to reality, George. Come on back with us.
All right.
Bring it back.
I'm trying to wind down. I want to go to bed, but I can't because I predicted Miami would win by 2 touchdowns, and I think they did.
You need to take those picks to Vegas. Or just jump online. Okay, George. You have a good night.
I didn't have no money, Mark. I didn't have no money. I didn't bet.
Always appreciated.
All right.
You have a great night. All right, our man George. Okay, finally getting to the super chats. Chuck Mo Beer, thank you so much again. Hi, Mark. Great to see you live again. Good win for Miami today, but still a lot to clean up on defense and need to catch the ball better. Overall, good win on the road. Let's go, Canes. Chuck Mo Beer. Thank you. Tim? A lot of people are saying that. I certainly saw it a number of times myself. It was called once for sure, maybe twice. Sam and Jamar, Bubba Bolden, yes, is the truth. Impressive. Like making wrap-up tackles, just guys that just, I don't know how to describe it, where he just shoots out of a cannon, hits a guy, and wraps him up in the open field. And it's a solid hit, but he's not going for the kill. He form tackles him. It's beautiful. It's a thing of art. It's like, he is practiced. He knows his craft. And if he can read the play like that and anticipate the pass, that he's done his work. He's done his work in the film room. And he has great instincts. Bubba Bolden, yes, he can play. His performance may have gotten lost in this game, but from what I saw, wow. The Pac-12 is not going to play. Let me put this way. If they're just deciding now, if they just get it together this week to play, I guess the Big Ten made that decision last week and could play on October 24th. I am on record as saying a number of weeks ago that the Big Ten had to get on the field by October 24th to be able to play a schedule that would prepare its champion to be selected to the college football playoff. So if the Pac-12 wants to play football, that's not going to count, sure, but they better hurry like in the next few days. MarkRogersTV, the voice of college football. Who's on the line?
Hey, Mark, it's Nate, the great or is late, a.k.a. Nate Kingston. How you doing, sir?
Nate, you found us. How you doing tonight?
Pretty good. Just I'm going to ask like a few questions and have to go because, yeah. So that Miami game, I watched it for a little bit and then it was a blowout. Well, I wouldn't say a blowout, but while I was watching it was kind of a blowout. But I haven't seen the final score. What was the final score?
47-34.
Oh, so it was a close game at the end. Okay.
No, it really wasn't.
Oh, okay.
No. Louisville scored the last touchdown. It was Miami had control of the game the entire second half. Really, Miami had the control of the game from about late first quarter, early second quarter, all the way through the game. The last time that it was in doubt was 27-20.
Yeah. I think the latest I heard it, the last time I saw it was like 20-6, but that's the last time I saw it. But are you excited for the Big Ten this year?
I am. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You see who the Huskers have week 1, right?
Yep.
Date with the Buckeyes.
Yeah, they have Tusk. Yeah, I think their toughest one is Ohio State, I think, and then Minnesota is in there too, or no?
Against Nebraska? I have not memorized the schedules. I am going to be cutting a video in which I will analyze the Big Ten schedules, but I've not looked at it.
Yeah, and plus I looked at Michigan's one, the Michigan schedule. They play at Minnesota the first game.
Yep. That'll be a good one.
Yeah, I hope it's a close one, not blowout. But so have you heard that Dylan McCaffrey transferred because Joe Milton starter?
Yes. That's correct.
I was kind of sad about that because, Dylan McCaffrey has experience for a little bit, but except for the injury prone, but he can run and he can decently throw. But I'm excited to see what Joe Milton can do. So who knows what he's going to do? But although I'm excited to see on October 24th, and I'm really excited.
Real quick, Nate, just give me a second here. Donnie Hudson, thank you so much for the Super Chat contribution. Great win. Enjoy it, but we need to be humble and not overlook anyone. One game at a time. Go Canes. Donnie, thank you so much. Anything else, Nate?
Not much. I was just saying that because I was excited to see the Big Ten announce we're playing the season. That's all. I mean, are you doing another call-in show on Sunday, or just this?
I need to do that on Patreon because of my situation right now, Nate. So that's not going to be available to everyone. I got to keep that closed up.
I don't get what Patreon is, but all right.
Well, I will send you a link. You can check it out.
All right.
If I can find
Thanks,
you.
Mark.
Thanks, Nate. Appreciate it. Have a good night. All right. I've lost it here, James. When you said that Oklahoma beat Miami 51-13 in 2007, but we beat Oklahoma in Miami the next season, 2008 would have been the year Oklahoma played in the national championship game. Miami did not beat, unless I'm missing something there that I've got to disconnect there. That did not happen the next season for sure. 2007, yes. Oklahoma crushed Miami in Norman 51-13. The next year, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about there. I don't know because you did not play, meaning Miami did not play Oklahoma the next year. So, all right, let's get to more comments here. Cam sat out after the touchdown run in the second half. Sam Bradford did not play the game. That's why. What are you guys looking at? 2008 against Miami. That was in 2007. Miami and Oklahoma played. Are we talking about 2009? Okay, 2009. They played 2 years later. 2009. I don't know why I don't remember these games. Oklahoma, Miami playing in 2007 and 2009. So Miami played Oklahoma in 2009. Yeah, 21-20. That Oklahoma team started out top 3 in the nation. Bradford got hurt against BYU in the opener at Texas Stadium or Jerry's World. And then Oklahoma kind of fell apart, finished 8-5, including a 1-point loss in Coral Gables. I don't remember those games. No, Sam Bradford did not suck in college. Sam Bradford was the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. So I love when all-time great college football players are tagged with being crappy players. Let's separate the NFL and college football. Tim Tebow, all-time great college football quarterback. NFL quarterback, marginal at best. Limited skill set, couldn't hold down a job, didn't play the part, just wasn't an NFL quarterback. Was he good enough to be a backup? Yeah, he proved that. He should have been a backup. Even after he got that shot with Denver, had the one decent season, benefited from a great defense, won a playoff game against the Steelers at home. Did he show the part of being an NFL starting quarterback? No, not with a 47% completion percentage. But a backup or a third stringer, yeah, he could have been one of the top 96 quarterbacks in the NFL to have earned at least a third string spot. But if you're going to say Sam Bradford was a crappy player or trash or whatever, I hate when people say somebody's trash. That just gets me. We certainly have enough examples of, if we want to call people trash, we certainly have enough examples of that by watching the news of people that are trash. And those people are typically, rioting and, burning buildings and doing things like that. And then other people who are spewing other hate out there. So rather than football players. Casey Fan, good to see you. Tim Polson, good to see you. Nobody cares about Oklahoma except for like millions of people, sure. Jeff Lynn, let's temper the mood there. This doesn't mean I'm back. Yeah, just it's a complicated situation in which there's a big fight on my hands. So that's what that is. Yeah, it wouldn't be 50 minutes behind, but then some people would get offended because I didn't read their comments. And I do skip the comments that are nothing but like that. Those I skip. Yeah, Greg Russo could be on board. He could be on board. There's Nate. Oh, BBD Will. If you think the only team that Miami will struggle against is Clemson, whoa. You guys might be giving Louisville just a little too much credit. And remember, the team that shows up on any given Saturday isn't the team that's going to show up every Saturday. This has been proven out over and 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 over. The team you had last year was good enough to beat Virginia, the best team in the division, the team that won the division championship. But it was also a team that could lose to Georgia Tech and FIU and Duke. Okay? And we've seen that time and time again, not just from Miami, but other teams that, aside from the elite, Georgia was good enough to beat 4 teams in the top 10 last year and lose to South Carolina, who went 4-8. I can give you a ton of examples that are similar. So Ole Miss prediction for Mr. HD over the Gators next week. Maybe at home. The ACC could be stronger this year. We'll never know until they get to the playoff because we can't evaluate these teams because they're not playing anybody in the other conferences. Oh my goodness, I am far behind. Let me catch up here. George chiming in. Thank you so much, George. I'm going to get to these super chats. Hang in with me. James, you know what, Mark? Maybe you should move those Big Ten helmets to the bottom shelf until October 23rd. Well, I moved them off there, completely moved them off until they came back because they weren't going to play football. And the Pac-12, I put them back in the back where you can't see them either. We're going to catch up here, folks. Hang with me. Eddie, good to see you, man. Is it true that Miami's defense gave up 500 yards? If true, they need to clean it up. That's something D'Onofrio would do. Let's also keep in mind that I really can only evaluate Miami's defensive performance after it got to be about 40-20. Once it was about 37 or 37-20 is when I felt as though Miami was not going to get caught because it became a 3-score game. And definitely, once Louisville scored to make it 40-27 with 7 minutes left, I thought they had a chance. But really, after those first 3 touchdowns, or they weren't even touchdowns, first 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals by Louisville to score 20 points, certainly the touchdown to bring them to 27 points was legit. The last touchdown was garbage. The 500 yards, they probably were close to 250 at half because I know going into the last drive, Louisville was around 165-ish. But then again, they didn't do anything on the last drive. Maybe they were at 180 at halftime. I love these. Will Scott, Thank you so much, Will Sky. Yes, I'm eating my words. Yes, I will. Alert. I will miss another prediction this year. Please go to a YouTube channel or a website that will not miss a prediction. Oh, it's funny. Jeff, again, thank you so much. It's great to be seen, but yes, we have a battle on our hands that you cannot imagine. Okay, yes. If everybody would pay me $2 on the main channel, $2 per month, $2 per month, then we do this full time, and I do a show every night and all day and all the time. And who's better than UK? Louisville? No, you cannot convince me of that. Kentucky is going to be better this year than they were last year. Kentucky played a running back at quarterback, and they crushed Louisville last year. They crushed them 41-13, 45-10. They dismantled Louisville, trashed Louisville, and that was when Louisville hit its stride at the end of the season. Kentucky just crushed them. Yeah, I'm going to stay with 8-3. Donnie, I know it's not likely, but with players getting another year of eligibility, it would be great to see King open 2021 versus Alabama. Why is that not likely? He's not a top NFL prospect at this point. Although the shorter quarterback is certainly getting more play and more observation and a chance. I was certain you would lose. Yes, I said the percentage chance was 52-48, which is a toss-up, but I was certain. I love how you guys put words in my mouth. I was certain. I called it a toss-up. And I actually said that Miami would win most of the time out of 100 games on neutral sites. At a neutral site, that Miami would win more than 50% of the time out of 100 games. But I was certain they would lose. Oh, man. All right, let's get down to E. Myers, 1981. Appreciate this a whole lot, E. Myers. Mark, just wanted you to know, still got a lot of respect for yourself, your channel, and all you do for us college football fans. So, E. Myers, I take no offense with you taking some shots at me. And I when I say shots, I know I'm not talking about disrespectful shots. I'm on here to be accountable for what I say, what I predict, what I analyze. So certainly, I was just responding to your comments and letting you know that I was not rating Louisville to be some great team. And they didn't really show me anything tonight that I didn't expect, except Miami was better on offense than I expected. Not because I didn't think Miami was talented on offense. They just put it together sooner than I thought. I'm on record as saying that I would have given Miami more of a chance of winning this game and would have predicted them and given them a heavy probability of winning this game the further in the season this game would have been scheduled, because I thought it would take some time to get the offense in sync. Oh, man, I am now. Oh, I'm only 20 minutes behind. We're getting there. Dante, good to see you tonight, big Canes fan. That's the problem. Why do they have to come on down? When do y'all leave the South to play in someone else's backyard? I don't know what this is about. Okay. Do I feel bad about my pick? I don't think my pick hurt anyone. I genuinely feel bad about things when they actually hurt someone. But no, I don't feel bad about it. I didn't lose any money on it. I went 5-2 against the spread today. So I feel pretty good about my picks. Do I feel bad about it? George, thank you, man, for the super chat. Good to see. Oh, the Pac-12. It's such a mess. If the Pac-12 wasn't already not necessarily the worst conference on the field, but the worst in terms of its position in college football. Yes, the worst. And now it's gotten even worse. The network is laying people off. They're in a bad spot. I'm guessing that well, no, I think somebody else was. I'm not going to comment. All right, there we go, Jeff. Thank you so much. Anybody who's on right now, we've got 168 on the line. We were as high as 190. Thank you so much for joining. We should have 3,000 to 4,000 views by the time this video posts. And maybe I'm going to run through the game again with another video post. And of course, Cam and the Wholesome One are always. And also Alonzo1219. Our guy Zoe, always welcome to join us for analysis here on our Miami channel. But as Jeff points out, subscribe. It's free. Click on the like and turn on the bell for the notifications. That way you know when we're going live and when we post new content. Yes, that was the second Oklahoma game. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for that. I don't remember those two games. I just don't remember them. Maybe I'll look them up on YouTube, see if I can find them. I'll take them in. Oh, that's really an off-season kind of project. I'm not going to be political. I just want to make one distinction here. I'm not talking about protesters. Protesting is an American right. I believe in it wholeheartedly. I may not agree with the cause, but I believe in peaceful protest. That's a difference. Okay. All right. Anybody else? What am I missing? If I missed anybody in the super chat, I don't believe I did. I hope I got everybody's comments to the screen. Rhett Lashley gets the game ball, according to Jeff Lynn. BBD Will, going to give me a call in a few weeks. Don't know how many fans are allowed for the game coming up Saturday night. Jeremy still sees Wisconsin's helmet. Is this an issue? I think Louisville is better than you give them credit for. Just watch, their defense still sucks. I think I've got Louisville pretty well targeted. They went 8-5 last year. They didn't really beat any really good teams. They beat a couple decent teams. Mississippi State. There were a couple other teams in there that they beat. Let's see. Let's go with, hang on. Louisville last year. Yeah, 7-5 in the regular season, 8-5 with a bowl win against Mississippi State. Mississippi State went 6-7. Mississippi State has to play in the SEC, though. Mississippi State was one of the 40 best teams in the country. Louisville played them really well and won 38-28. They lost to Notre Dame by 18. I remember, watched all of that game. They were not competitive in that game after the first half. They lost to Florida State. by 11. They beat a decent Boston College team by 2. They beat a decent, probably the best win of the year. Well, they had 2 solid wins. Their 2 really good, solid wins were against Wake Forest, 62-59, a Wake Forest team that went 8-5, and they beat Boston College 41-39. BC went 6-7. So Louisville beat they beat Virginia. I'm sorry, that was the other win I was looking for. Virginia, 28-21. So Virginia, Wake Forest, decent teams. Again, top 25 to 40 teams in the country. They won 2 of those and Mississippi State. They also lost to you guys by 25 points. And they got annihilated by Kentucky. They lost to Clemson by 5 touchdowns, which just about everybody does. But if they're really that good, then they wouldn't lose to Clemson by 5 touchdowns. Speed is one thing. It's important in football, but just because you've got offensive playmakers that can run around, you got to block somebody up front. You got to protect your quarterback, and Louisville was not able to do that. This is how I'm going to elaborate on my situation. I have an issue in which I am not, at the present time, allowed to, unless I want to lose very important things in my life, I am not allowed to post any content on my main channel, and possibly not even on this channel. I am taking a big risk posting this here. So understand that. I'm like a huge risk posting this live stream here. But in particular on my main channel, you've not seen any content posted there since last Friday. So it's been 8 days, and I'm in a pattern in which there's a mandated shutdown. I am fighting it to the hilt. I am not going to lose my channel. I am fighting it to the hilt. Yeah. That's about the best I can do. And my best case scenario has always been that I could see an opportunity to make enough money to hopefully one day replace my salary and even succeed it. And we all want to do better, right? We all want to make more money, do better, but at least get to a point where I can make that jump, where even though I'm not going to do as well out of the gate, where I can see and piece together revenue streams to where I can make the jump. And then for all the people that are very kind with your support and with your words in complimenting my work, you have no idea what kind of damage we could do here and at the main channel if I was doing this all the time. You know, eliminate the 45 or 50 hours that are devoted to the job. Take that away. If I do this all the time and we clean all this up, package it better, but I have time to devote. Yeah. There you go. What's funny is when I compliment Miami or make a prediction that Miami critics or haters, as you guys say, I'm not up on the lingo. I'm not one that runs around and says, you know, you're a hater. I usually say, you know, you're negative or something. So you got an old guy running this YouTube channel. What I find funny is that recently I've complimented Miami, and maybe it was the 8-3 prediction or something where people said, well, Mark, you're just trying to pander to your fan base and pander to all those Miami fans. So I find that kind of funny because the Miami detractors and haters say you're pandering to all your Miami fans, and then the Miami fans say that I'm hating on you, when the truth is I analyze it as fairly and neutrally as I possibly can. I will not ever come on here and say that I'm unbiased, completely, perfectly unbiased, because I think that's a pipe dream. That's a fantasy that anybody's unbiased. Do I do my best to put that on the shelf and keep it away, and even maybe take some of my known biases and try to correct them, try to lean the other way to kind of correct it and bring it to the middle? Yeah, I try to be as neutral as possible. And to the point where I think most of you know, I grew up an Ohio State fan, where there are Buckeye fans that think I hate Ohio State. And every time I see one of those comments, I'm like, check. That means I'm doing my job. So yeah, it is funny because you can never make everybody happy. And it is funny how many people are upset by predictions and think that you hate their team because you predicted them to lose a game. It's quite amusing. Yeah, this field goal kicker, Borregales, is that how we pronounce that? I'm forgetting. But anyway, that man, if you got a weapon like that, you can get into the red zone or not even in the red zone, and you can say, hey, we're going for the touchdown. Of course, we want the touchdown in this drive, but we know that we're not a team anymore that's going to drive the ball down to the 15-yard line all the way. That's a successful drive. If you drive the ball all the way, let's say from your 25 down to the opponent's 15, and then the drive bogs down, you miss a couple throws, whatever, and you're at the 15, and you're guessing and concerned whether your field goal kicker can make a 32-yard field goal, that's a problem. You've driven the ball deep enough into the other team's territory that you should bank on a field goal, 32-yarder, 90 to 92% of the time, something in that range, 90% of the time. It's an extra point in the NFL. And for you guys, that's been a 55 or 60% kick? You can't have that, let alone knocking one home from 57. White Knight, good to see you as well. Yeah, again, don't take these live streams as meaning that I'm out of trouble, that all is well. As you can see, I'm not posting content. Mark, thoughts about how Miami leads ACC teams with active NFL players at 31, followed by Clemson at 29, FSU, Notre Dame at 28. So even in the last few years, the talent has been there, but not the team success. Yeah, it's been poorly developed and coached. And the coaching of the players, but also the coaching of the game management and clock management, the management on the field of the game has been awful. And also, I think those numbers that you bring to the table are valid. They're, of course, fact. I can't argue them. But to go another layer, there's a difference between producing NFL talent that makes rosters in the NFL versus impact players in the NFL. And most of those impact players come from the first 3 rounds of the draft. And I would guess Clemson in particular has produced high draft picks. Case in point, Ohio State and Michigan last year both produced 10 NFL draft picks. But where do you think the Ohio State players were drafted versus the Michigan players? The Michigan players were all in the bottom 3 rounds of the draft. All the Ohio State players, except maybe 1 or 2, were in the top of the draft, including 2 of the top, 4 players in the draft? So there's another layer to that. And Miami's not had quarterback play. So the quarterback's the most important player on the field. I truly believe that the offensive line is the most important unit on the field, but the most important player, single player, is the quarterback by far. And so if you look at NFL draft selections, or on the front side of the career, the recruited players, you could have, your team could have out of 20 players signed, your team could have 2 5-stars and 6 4-stars. And my team could have 1 5-star and 4 4-stars. And then the rest 3 stars for both teams. And you're going to have a higher recruiting ranking. So 20 players each side. Your team has 2 5-stars. Mine has 1. Your team has, 6 4-stars, and mine has 4. So you might have the 8th best recruiting class in the country, and mine's 19th. But I've got the 5-star quarterback. Well, he's the most important selection. So that would probably balance those 2 classes, or maybe even Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence lifts my class above yours, even though it's not according to the rankings, because the guard that you selected that's a 4-star is ranked is given just as much weight as my 4-star quarterback. All right. Yes, it's complicated. It's complicated, and I don't know how much I can fight it, but I am fighting. Good to see all of you. Jeff again, and Mark, we trust. He is right 199% of the time. The only time Mark is a little biased is when he talks about the Ohio State-Miami National Championship game. You know what we should do? We should do a live stream. And I could simulcast it on the Ohio State channel at the same time as doing it here. And we would watch the 02/03 National Championship game, Fiesta Bowl game, and just watch it on a big screen and just watch it and comment. And if somebody jumps up in the live chat and says, whoa, Mark, stop that play. Let's watch that one again. Boom, let's watch it again. Watch the whole game. We should do that sometime. I've often thought, especially with the main teams that I'm covering here, and some people don't want to hear this, but my aim is to cover everyone in college football, but I'm one guy, so I can only do so much. And of course, there are teams that are more important because of their popularity plus their relevance in the championship race. But I would love if every week we would do a show where, okay, let's say on Tuesday night, I would do a Miami show and we would watch the Louisville game. So half the show would be devoted to last week's game, and we would have the Louisville game on the screen and break things down. And then the last half of the show would look forward to Florida State. That would be phenomenal. Young Spitta, you talk analytics. You don't really know sports. You like Louisville to win, and they have no defense because they put up points on a Western Kentucky team that lost to Liberty today. All right, Young Spitta, if you don't think I know sports, you don't need to watch. That would be fine. Secondly, if you really watched me for a period of time, I think you would think otherwise. Am I right all the time? No. I gave Louisville less credit than the various statistical models. Appreciate that. We will accept anything. Thank you so much. Thank you, White Knight. Much appreciated. Yeah. Yeah. I wish I could say more, but again, just doing my best to preserve what we have there, and not necessarily supposed to be doing anything here, but I wanted to get on here after the game and talk to all of you. So we have reached the end of the line. Thank you so much for all these super chat contributions, all the comments in the live chat. We had as many as almost 200 on the line, so thank you so much for that. I know that your time is valuable. You have a number of options for college football coverage, but I appreciate it right here. Would invite you to check us out on Patreon. If you go to Patreon, it's $5 a month. And one reason it's $5 a month is because I have to charge something, because that's just the platform and what it is. So if you go to Patreon, I wish I had a banner here, but I don't. Go to Patreon and just search Mark Rogers TV, and you can sign up right there, and it will be worth your while. We've got we have content all the time, and we do live streams with you, meaning we will do live streams and say, here's the link, bam, there you go. You can come on here and talk to us. And most of those live streams have been so good, and the conversation has been so good that I'm just like sitting there and you guys are all talking to each other. And all my predictions are there. And I just want to make it a place where we have what I call the voice of college football community. So again, it's a way to contribute, and I think it's well worth it. And again, just go to patreon.com, search Mark Rogers TV. You can also grab that link by going to the comments section. The description section of any of the videos on the main channel. Go to the description section, grab the link, and go over there and join us on Patreon. Appreciate it so much. Thank you so much. And congrats to all you Miami fans. 47-34 win that wasn't as close as the final score would indicate. Florida State's next at Hard Rock. And we will see you soon. Keep it locked in right here, as well as all across our platforms. And we will keep up the fight, keep up the faith. Thank you so much for the support. See you next time. Thank you, Richard.